What's up, guys? All right, so I'm reading the story. It's kind of interesting and shows a shift that's taking place in business, which I think most of us are aware of, but it's also really, really shocking. So there's a story about DJ Khaled, just came out with a big album, had every superstar imaginable that was on the album. And they're talking about how he went to his record label and kind of went crazy and was really mean and offensive to a lot of the employees, derogatory because his album didn't debut at number one. Now, it's pretty amazing that it didn't because I mean he had literally Jay-Z is on the album and Beyonce because he took a couple singles that he had actually released before, trying to basically manipulate the numbers. He just everybody you can imagine, Nipsey Hussle, who everybody wants a record from and will listen because unfortunately he passed. Had Lil Baby, Lil Wayne, Meek. I mean, just if you're a hip hop fan, he had everybody. You want Cardi, who's just huge artist back in the day. A few bars from Nas. I mean, it's just absolutely an all-star album. Then you look at the work he did to get the album to number one. Timed it perfectly to be on SNL, got huge stars to come to SNL with him. So had Meek, had Lil Wayne, had about 5 stars. I think Fabulous was there. That went to SNL and put in the money to make sure all of those folks performed with him. Just a ton of work. Didn't do a lot of the traditional radio, went really big time, and instead of kind of doing the normal runs and doing PR with small radio stations or hip hop radio stations or any of that, went super big and was on late night television and, just a tremendous amount of exposure. So you may be wondering, with all of that, with all of those stars, with all of that exposure, SNL, late night TV, it's just, a tremendous amount going into this, ads on Spotify, all of that. Who in the world could have beat him out for the number one spot? And it's actually a rapper that some of y'all will know and then some may not, but his name is Tyler, the Creator. So Tyler, the Creator, didn't have any of that. Literally, it was last minute. I mean, if you're familiar with marketing launches, you want to have a big build up to the launch. On the opposite end of that, Tyler just kind of announced a few weeks before with a tweet and a message on Instagram like, hey, I'm going to release an album in the next few weeks. No Jay-Z on the album, no Future, no Beyonce, no, huge stars. But what he had, and is what's important for you guys to understand, and this shift that's taking place, is a direct connection with his fans, and a very deep one. See, people look at Khaled's numbers like, oh, he has all of these followers and people love him and all of that. But the question is, how deep is that connection? I may be a follower of DJ Khaled, but I'm not going in checking for what he's up to or don't have that deep level of connection. I don't like anything, that Tyler's done music-wise, but he has fans that absolutely love him. And it's just, it shows that there's a shift between the old school corporations that they just want to be top of mind. They want to have a brand. They want to stay in front of you. They want to get in front of you on all of these different mediums, and comparing that to today, where it's more about depth. It's more about having a fewer people that are watching you and following you and all that, but they're passionate about what you do. They love what you're up to, and they're really gonna buy whatever you're doing. And it's amazing to me, that story, when you think about it from the business perspective. I think that in today's day and time, DJ Khaled is a prime example. Outside of Gary Vee, he's somebody that has done a great job of building an audience. And I try to tell people all the time, like, I don't care about my numbers. I care about who those numbers are. And Gary Vee is another great example of the exact same thing. I mean, he said it himself. Like, people would expect that when he introduced his wine, it's going to be a killer wine. It's going to be the best selling wine on earth because he has more notoriety. He's more famous, has more followers, has more people that are interacting with him, more people that are going to recognize him in the street and run up and want a photo and all of this stuff. And they're wines that have zero followers. Nobody knows who runs it. It's just a brand. It's got some people that really love what they do that can sell the bottles for a lot more expensive and totally make way more money than Gary Vee would ever make from his wine. So one of the things that I always keep in mind that my mentor and a lot of wealthy people say is like, you don't want to be famous. Like, fame is it only equals more costs. So you got concerns, you got security, you got more people coming after you, got more time. But like, that is one cost. But the other cost is the cost of time and trying to keep up with the fame and trying to manage, having all the followers and keeping them happy and growing it and all of that. It's just, I know way too many people. Sometimes I like for you guys to share with you guys just when I'm flying places and I happen to sit in first class because it's a great deal, not because I have to fly first class. But some of those conversations, just like a random dude that owns a cattle farm and, it's like 1,000 acres and, doesn't want anybody to know who he is. But being anonymous and wealthy is way more beneficial and way more fun than being famous and broke, for sure. And I think in a lot of cases, better than being even famous and having some amount of wealth. So you want to think about it from the perspective of what's really working right now, not what is the cool thing, because what you're going to see more of is people who are famous talking about being famous because they're obviously able to reach you a lot more easily than the person that's in the background that's really making the money. And I love the fact that in this story, it's kind of a shift of the guards where, Khaled's running into his record label, Epic, who represents him, and upset and going crazy on them. They should have done more, and they should be fighting to have. He had some streams that he felt should have been counted, and he's really going after this. And it's like, dude, the days of a big corporation being able to go in and influence things and make changes and make money the way that they used to are over. And it's a great opportunity for you to just build a deep connection, whether you run a company, building a deep connection with those customers and stop trying to be everything to everybody, stop trying to be famous, just find your target market and build a deep connection with them. That's what's making money right now. And then the other thing is that there's a lot of money to be made with just being completely anonymous, and not to forget that as well. And even if you're not anonymous, cultivating the right crowd. For me, I would much rather have 200 real deal makers that are really taking action and, I'm really doing things. I can tell from the comments. I'd rather have those 200 folks because I also just want to spend time with those people than to have 100,000 tire kickers that are going to distract from the conversation and, put up dumb comments like, oh, nobody can really buy a business. And, just all of this kind of idiotic stuff. That pulls away from the real goal, which is, hey, let's go out and do some more deals. So the truth is, Majority of deal makers are anonymous. They're not trying to be famous. We have the one person, Warren Buffett, who does a very eloquent job of kind of managing his fame, which, seeing him in front of 30,000 people when I was in Omaha is absolutely incredible. But he knows that at the end of the day, what makes him money, what produces for Berkshire is just going out and doing the right deals. So you guys should be focused on the same thing. Thanks so much for the love and support. I love you guys that, you reach out and really appreciate the videos. We have quite the cool little tribe here. And so be sure to comment below. I am going to be pretty busy over the next week. We've got a lot going on. We're closing several deals. It's a lot going on, but all good stuff. Very appreciative. New announcements coming up. Some cool things happening with the IPO. Some interesting things happening in crypto, and I'll be sharing more of that in the coming weeks. But read that story and just thought, wow, this is a great example that the times are shifting. And if you're going to be like DJ Khaled in 5 years, if right now you think the goal is how many Instagram followers can I have, or like he thought, how many Snapchat followers can I have, because he dwarfs Tyler the Creator when it comes to those numbers. Keep that in mind, guys, and forget the fame.